The apartment was quiet, too quiet. Darren sat in the middle of it, surrounded by the stillness that had become his only company since the funeral. Dust hung in the air like old memories, suspended, unbothered. His mother's chair stood in its usual place, angled just slightly toward the fireplace, as if still waiting for her to return. At first, the voice had been a whisper, an echo of judgment buried in the fabric of the chair. It came late at night, when the silence was thickest, when his thoughts were rawest. A single word, then two. Always cold, always familiar. He knew the voice wasn't real. He told himself that again and again, but it had weight. And weight, even when invisible, can crush. He started to avoid the living room. Then the lights. Then sleep. Every time he passed the chair, he felt the press of unseen eyes, the narrowing of his chest, the faint throb behind his temples. His days were marked by dread, his nights by the pulse of remembered shame. Memories he hadn't asked for returned with strange clarity. The way she tapped her fingers against the wood, the sharp lift of her eyebrow, the silence that always followed his small mistakes. Not violence. Never that. Just coldness so sharp it sliced. One day his body gave in. Panic rose in his throat at work, and he collapsed in the break room, trembling. That moment, terrifying and public, cracked something in him. He couldn't carry it anymore. The weight, the voice, the chair. Therapy wasn't easy. He had to force himself to speak truths he'd long buried. Under politeness and deflection, he peeled back layers one by one, discovering that the voice was not hers anymore. It had become his own. A parasite grown from seeds planted long ago. Months passed. The chair remained untouched, but the voice grew quieter. Eventually, it stopped speaking. Not because it had nothing more to say, but because Darren had stopped listening. One autumn morning, sunlight filtered through the window just so, hitting the chair with a strange clarity. He stood for a long time watching it. Then, with quiet resolve, he grabbed it, his hand steady, his breath calm, and carried it out. At the curb, he let it rest. No anger, no farewell, just release. When he returned to the apartment, the silence was still there, but it no longer felt heavy.